My name is Benedict, and I'm here to talk about CI/CD at Pinterest. Something about me, I lead the engineering productivity organization at Pinterest. And we have one thing. Our goal is to help make our developers extremely productive, happy, and really love their job. This is my Pinterest board. And I think before I start, who hasn't heard about Pinterest? Okay, so that's really good. Otherwise, I was going to do a product pitch over there for Pinterest. Anyway, so Pinterest, just to reiterate, our mission is one thing. We want to bring everyone the inspiration to create a life they love. And to be more specific, we want to help people really discover new things and really pursue that outside the norms of your screen or your application. For example, I'm wearing these amazing Nikes today, which very much resonates with the colors over here. And I actually have a Pinterest board collection of multiple shoes, which my wife is not particularly very happy about. But then again, just to give you context on how large Pinterest really is, we serve more than 320 million users across the globe. And Pinterest collectively holds over 200 billion pins. Pins is basically an equivalent of, say, a tweet in Twitter or a post in any other social media. The thing is, the most important aspect of that is it's all human curated. Like, people have actually taken the extra step to pin something. It could be an image, a link, a video, and actually categorize it or provide annotations which provide these amazing visual graphs of what someone could really like and what could they get inspired with. With that, obviously our job is to provide amazing, delightful experiences to our pinners, and that means my team's job is to make sure every engineer in the company is, again, very productive. And this is our vision. Our job is to provide a fast, safe, and a delightful path to take an idea to production. And the key thing to note over there is we don't want anyone to worry about infrastructure. With that, let me tell you a story about continuous delivery and how Pinterest really moved from what it used to do today, previously, in terms of deploying to machines one by one, to right now fully embracing the continuous integration and delivery platform. I think TLDR, this was the process. We were basically laying tracks as we were moving fast. And definitely I could end the keynote right now, but I think I really want to give you the complexity, how hard this is. And just to reiterate, this is really not a technical challenge, and that's what really I'm here to talk about. It's more of a process challenge. So before I get started, this is kind of the Pinterest's left side of the brain and the right side of the brain, the analytics side of the stack, and then the serving side of the stack. And the reason I wanted to show this is it was really important for us to first understand where the problem really lies, and then focus on that particular problem to solve. To give you a footprint of how large our infrastructure is, it's pretty large, so I won't really go through the numbers since it's there. But then let me come back to helping define the problem. How does the architecture play a role with our footprint, and how we decided to solve this? How did we decide to solve a particular problem? So, going back to our architecture diagram, we realized that Pinterest, again, runs one of the largest monoliths. We are big on Python. So our serving stack, which is at the top right there, our API service and our web service, both of them are still on their monolithic Python service graph. And to just give you a perspective on how large that is, we actually have more than 200 plus engineers committing code to just those two systems. We see more than 3,500 commits a month, and it runs over 5,000 servers. So it's a pretty large system. And that really helped us focus. We realized that if we could unlock value for those many engineers who are shipping these amazing features for Pinterest pinners, that would be the biggest value add to show the organization and how we can really move fast. So we pinpointed to a particular service, a particular system, and we took that as the larger problem domain. And we started going deep down into truly understanding how things were happening for that platform. And yes, it's a long list of challenges. I'm just calling out the top 10, but there are definitely more than that. But to be honest, at a high level, one of the key things which was plaguing us in the past is deployments were extremely manual. We would actually do deployments twice a day, scheduled at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. And rest assured, never was that schedule adhered. we would never get a deploy out because there were so many commits going out. There were so many users trying to push their changes out. It was extremely hard. And just to get a sense of why that was the case, we did our full analysis and trying to understand the problem statement, and this is what we came up with. With that, once we understood what the problem was, the next step is to define what is your success criteria. How do you actually convince people that, okay, here's definitely a problem, but how do you measure success? So that's the next thing we started focusing on. We started focusing on 3 particular pillars. So one is velocity. We started understanding metrics on how long does it take a developer to ship code from an idea to production. The second one is about quality. How quickly can we find bad code before it gets deployed to production? And finally, reliability. How often does bad code get deployed and has a significant impact on our business metrics? Obviously, it's very hard to kind of put all these metrics together and come up with one single metric, but we were pretty close, I felt like, because we came up with this one release SLO, the P90 time which it takes from commit land to deploy. And I'm going to be speaking more about that later. So the next step, iterating on the experience. Now that we have the problem domain, we have our success metric, we haven't still figured out what is the right number there. Let's understand how we can go about defining that number through iterating through the experience. This is how it started. This is the first variation of how we started doing CI/CD at Pinterest. We said that we were going to start deploying at 9:30 a.m. We're going to continuously try deploying this manually until 5 p.m. end of day. And you can see me actually typing one of the first commands. And this is how it goes through on a day-to-day basis. Not even day-to-day, actually hour-by-hour basis. I was doing this every day. Not only me, obviously, it was a collection of on-call engineers, and clearly they would hate me for this. But this is what every day they were doing to emulate what continuous delivery actually means. And yes, it's a very hard process. And you can see here's my tech lead actually posting the end-of-day deploy status. So we got from 1 or 2 successful deploys to 4 successful deploys on one of our services and 0 on the other. Another one, again, we're making some progress, but we started determining failures. And finally, we were so happy when we managed to get like 3 to 5 deploys a day. It was insane. And you can see the number of kudos right there at the bottom just to get that out. And yes, it was so manual, but that really helped us understand what we should automate on, what should we focus on. So overall, yes, there's a process of going through code, test, build, deploy, delivery, and operations. So we did determine that there are key areas in each of these specific pillars to automate and focus on. That's what I'm pretty much highlighting over here. Like for example, it's a no-brainer that you have to do a PR validation before you actually push it to master. But yes, we actually have the data to back that up as to how often does it break because of that. We decided that we absolutely need a golden test suite of tests. And with very precise owners so that we can actually go ahead and block releases if something fails. Reduce the build complexity while improving the build times. We also realized that there's a need for asynchronous pipelines and obviously canary analysis to make sure that we can automate the whole rollout process. And finally, you want to fail fast and you want to make sure that you can roll back or remediate any sort of reliability issues on production. And yes, obviously pipelines was a big thing. This is my first slide on Spinnaker right now throughout my talk, but clearly this enabled us to do most of that. We started orchestrating our CI/CD process into actual stages and pipelines. One example is just on the top, the global continuous deployment pipeline. And there's a very specific one you can see at the bottom, where we provided our service owners the flexibility to add certain stages and experiences as part of the rollout process. TLDR, we actually moved from that world where we would end up doing hundreds of commit changes in a single deploy to what's happening today. 9 to 5 continuously, Pinterest is being deployed, as you can see over there. We worked on that particular experience where now we're shipping like 3 commits, 4 commits on every deploy. And even if there's a failure, at the best, we're going back only by 3 commits, which is insane. And finally, measure. I think this is the best graph to show. Like I always show this to all the customers and even the executives at Pinterest. And you can really see where the inflection point is. The blue line basically shows you the P90 time, which takes from launch to commit, and how it drastically reduced while the number of deployments increased. And that's why we introduced Spinnaker, right? Like you can start seeing the number of deploys really go up. And to give you a perspective, we actually do more than 25 deploys a day, continuously from 9 to 5, and the P90 time on those commits are actually under 4 hours. There are testimonials from users who say, I just commit and I forget about it because I know within a certain amount of hours, that's going to be shipped to our pinners. So I want to close this whole keynote out with 2 more slides. And one thing is, I just tweeted this out recently. The graph you see there is really fascinating, and I really feel good looking at it, just because those are basically all the shots which go out within a period of day, and that was happening on Friday. So yeah, I mean, we don't have to stop deployments after 12 p.m. And yes, historically this was never possible at Pinterest, but today this is how we're doing things at Pinterest. And finally, I want to do a plug to the talk which is happening today at 1:30 by 2 of my amazing engineers who are here somewhere. Rainey and Jasmine are going to be talking about how we productionize Spinnaker at Pinterest and how did we enable what we just saw, the amazing stats of overall deployment growth at Pinterest. So with that, I'd like to say thank you for the time. This is an amazing community. We're really excited to be part of this. Thank you.